once he found out that my condition could pass on to kids, he was like, nope, I can't morally do this. He had even talked to his mom, and his mom was like, you have to decide whether or not you want to have kids, because if you want to have kids, you have to break up with her.
Everybody, and welcome to the show Access Gaming, the show where accessibility meets gaming. I'm your host Arevya, and today I am here with Rochelle, better known as Good Morning Dreamer. Hi Rochelle, may you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Rochelle, or Good Morning Dreamer. Some people also call me Dreamer as well. I'm a full-time worker, but a part-time creator on Twitch, also on TikTok. I have a disability called Ectrodactyly, which means that I'm missing a few digits on my fingers as well as my feet. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you so much for joining me today. So can you tell us a bit more about your disability, like how it affects you? Is this something one is born with, and how it affects you in your life?
Yeah, so I was born this way. When I was born, there was actually a gap right here. So I ended up getting stitches when I was, I think, like a year or two older, and they stitched it together so that I would be able to go and grab things more efficiently. My dad was actually born with the same condition, but prior to that, there was no one else in his family history that had it.
Oh.
Yeah, and with him, it only affected one hand. So he only had 4 fingers on one hand. I don't believe he got surgery at all at that time. But when I was born, it was a bit of a surprise. They weren't quite sure what to go and do, because also on my foot, I had an extra toe that had to get removed. Otherwise, I couldn't wear shoes.
Yeah.
And basically, they just were going through the grocery store, happened to meet a friend, and the person was like, hey, I know this hospital that is really good at going and helping people with certain disabilities. Would you like to talk to them? And it happened to be the Shriners Hospital in Minnesota. My dad did a video recording and sent it in to them. And I guess they actually used that to educate their medical staff on people that had my condition. So I thought that was pretty neat.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like it doesn't affect my livelihood too often. Like there's certain things that will be a little bit difficult, like opening a Gatorade bottle, or sometimes if I'm walking too much, my feet might rub in the shoes, and that will hurt quite a bit. So just being mindful of certain things like that. But yeah, I can't think of too many things at the moment.
No. That's a good answer. And I think I often, when I speak about my disability, people are a bit like shocked because they have the view of like the healthcare system today. And then they're just like, but why didn't they just know? And I'm just, because we have Google today, and even doctors use Google. And at that time, information didn't float when we were born. Yes. I'm not so sure your age, but I presume we're a similar age. And like when we were born, things weren't like, information didn't go so good as it do today. So yeah, you will come to places where like healthcare just doesn't know. They just go, I don't know.
It's so true, because like, I mean, like kind of sidelining from there, my dad didn't think that there were other people with disabilities similar to him or myself. And like now with the way social media is, I found so many people that have limb differences like mine. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's someone that's out there exactly like me. Whereas before, like back in the day, it was like, oh, I don't know if there's other people that are like this. I'm the only one. So it's really exciting to see representation change as we, progress in electronics and social media and everything.
Yes, because every time some people like talk about internet, they say like all these negative things, but for me, internet was just like a big like eye opener of like, I'm not alone. Like for me, internet has been like one of the best things, because it was just like, it went from, I am in my really small town where I'm from, I feel different, but it's not anything people like, they couldn't see it on me. So like I felt like alienated a lot. And then I met the internet, and I was just like, yay, people are like me.
I completely understand because I was from a small, predominantly white redneck hometown. So I was the only person with limb differences. I was the only biracial person. So I was like, okay, I can't really relate to anyone around here. But then log on and online, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's this whole world out there and people that understand me. And it's amazing.
It is. I actually found you through TikTok, which is also
Mhm.
really cool because we live on the completely opposite part of the world. And we found
Yeah,
each other and we started talking, and it was really, really nice. And I followed you all over from that time. And yeah,
mhm.
it's so cool because take 50 years back, we wouldn't be able to have this conversation. And yeah,
Exactly.
it's really, really cool.
I agree.
Start with my first question now. So, which is, what is accessibility for you?
Oh, goodness. Accessibility for me is, I guess, finding ways to kind of make your daily life a little bit easier. So functionality and stuff like that. I know I was saying, opening Gatorade bottles or certain jars might be a little bit trickier for me. And I have like a jar opener that I wish I would have brought here, but I think I have it on a TikTok video.
Yes, I can
Um,
put up TikTok here.
yeah.
People can
But
see.
yeah, but like it really helps like go and open things like sidewalk ramps, going and helping wheelchairs get up on the sidewalk. Just certain things like that. Accessibility kind of making life easier for people with disabilities.
Yeah, and do you think, like, in the term of gaming, do you think accessibility is important in gaming?
Oh yeah, 100%. I was like trying to think about this question before our interview, and I was thinking of little things, like in video games, they have changing the mouse sensitivity. I have really an extreme motion sickness a lot of the time, and just that little feature in video games makes such a difference, or switching from first person and third person. And
Yes.
it's like that can make a world of difference for how long I can sit through playing a game and not feeling sick to my stomach. So yeah, like it definitely makes a world of a difference, even with little details like that in a game.
It does. And it is like, I often, it's weird because I know what you mean. Because sometimes when
Mm-hmm.
people ask me, like, about accessibility and my disability, I'm just like, yeah, all that. But I often use it for things that isn't my disability at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like, I also get motion sickness. It's nothing to do with any of my disabilities, but it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
no, but I don't want to get nauseous when I play a game.
Exactly.
Yeah, I played like Raft. And if somebody in the
Mm.
audience doesn't know Raft, it's like you literally have a raft and you're on the sea. So the sea goes up and down. And I played it for like 20 minutes and I'm just like, oh, my stomach. Ah. And then I saw
Yes.
it was like this turn, yeah, stabilize the ocean or seasick mode or something like that. Put it on.
Mm-hmm.
I could play like 4 hours straight. And I was just like,
Exactly.
brilliant. It's not even something about my disability, but it's still something that helps me so much. So
Mm-hmm.
much. Yes.
Yeah, we have a group that usually gets together sometimes on the weekends, and we'll play grounded.
Mhm.
And I have some people that play first person and some people that play third. And I was looking at screen share, and my friend was doing first person. I was like, oh, okay, I need to take a break for a bit because I'm already feeling it right now.
Yep. I know that. Yeah, that feel.
Mhm.
That feel. Do you need any accessibility when it comes to your limb difference when you play games?
Yeah, so there's certain games like Genshin Impact. I love playing that game, but something about the keyboard controls are a little bit difficult for me. So I usually like to play with a console, and it just makes a world of a difference with going and reaching some of the buttons and everything like that. Also, just playing some games on my Switch as well and using this, because after a while, like playing with the actual Switch remote or attached to the game and my hand, it's kind of heavy and my wrist will start to hurt. So being able to just go and use this and look at the screen that way makes a world of a difference.
It does. It's funny that you say because I have just that controller here. The same. Like whenever I
Yes.
play a game, I have to juggle between
Hmm.
using keyboard a bit, the controller a bit, doing like all these different things to make sure that my hands are doing okay. So yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, because you get invested after a while and you're like, wait, why is this hurting right now? It's like, oh, that's why.
Yeah, I've been sitting here for 3 hours. Ah, that's why. Because it's so typical. So yeah. What do you wish people knew about accessibility?
Oh gosh, there's just an absolute vast world of things that I wish people would know. For myself, like it took a while for me to admit that I was disabled because growing up in a small town, and especially with my dad, he's like, no, you're not disabled. You're able to do things. And that was looked at as such a dirty word. Well, with some things that happened a few years ago, it kind of made me realize like, no, I am disabled. I'm proud of my limb differences. And then once I started opening up and sharing that, I started following other people with disabilities. And through that, I've learned so many things that I didn't know before, like how inaccessible our world is currently, how wheelchair users have such a difficult time going and getting their wheelchairs properly handled on an airplane. Like they might do prep work going and saying like, hey, pull this lever so that, the wheelchair folds perfectly or unfolds, all those little things. And then there's still so many horror stories of people with wheelchairs on airplanes. So I feel like not even if you have a disability, but even if you're abled, you should go and follow people because there's so many things that you don't know. And it's just absolutely mind blowing.
It is. It is. And like as we talked about earlier, the fact that when you have one disability, it is quite a narrow view.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I have okay, I can hear well. And I've
Mm-hmm.
started following a lot of content creators that are deaf or blind. And
Mm-hmm.
like you have sort of you come to a point where you sort of shift how you view things and go like, oh, I didn't even think about that, which
Yes.
is important. I talk a lot to like game developers and stuff, and they say like, "Oh, but we didn't know," and I was just like, "Yes, I know. We no, no, none of us know. Like there because there isn't. Well, there are some like lists you can look up, but like
Mm-hmm.
if you haven't experienced the barricade, like the problem,
Mm-hmm.
there you will not even think that it would be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. It really, really changes your perspective on a lot of things. Like for myself, I like using subtitles whenever I watch a TV show because there might be a word that I'm missing. And, people that are hard of hearing, they really rely on some of that stuff, especially like watching videos on Twitch. So closed captioning means so, so much. Like those little things that you just take for granted.
it is. And it's really, well, not fun, but I'm glad you're talking about it because I know we have been talking a bit about like internalized ableism and the
Mm-hmm.
fact that it took me also a long time to understand that I was disabled because like you grow
Mm-hmm.
up with this view of this means disabled and a
Yes.
lot of able-bodied people think that it's a dirty word. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
slur or something. But I feel, at least when I look at your TikToks and stuff, that you're sort of part of the change of being like proud of, yeah, I am disabled, but that doesn't mean I'm less worthy. That doesn't mean I'm
Yeah.
less anything. And
Mm-hmm.
it's been really, really fun following you and see that like change of
Mm-hmm.
like taking pride in things. So
Thank you.
yeah, it's been really, really fun. So yeah, do you think it is hard for people who are not disabled to understand that we can still understand that our body have problems, but also be proud and worthy?
Oh, 100%. Like the best example I can think of is I was in a relationship with someone that was very much an ableist. And I remember in the relationship kind of explaining some of the things that I could do, but were a little bit more challenging. And it was just like he almost had blinders where he was focusing on a lot of that stuff. And he kind of made me feel very icky about like some of the things with myself, but I was like, okay, he hasn't grown up this way, like this is his certain perspective. And I was like, I am very much gaslighting myself right now. And after that, it was like, okay, yes, I did say he wasn't exposed to this, but part of the problem is like there's not enough representation out there with people going and saying like, hey, I'm like this, but I am fully capable, I can go and do this, 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 and this. Yeah, it might be a little bit challenging, but I can still do it. It's just going to look so much more different than an able-bodied person doing it.
That is so good you're saying this, because like I remember previous relationship I've had a similar feeling, but where this relationship I'm in now, it's more a feeling of like, yeah, okay, so I can't carry like most groceries, and okay, I sleep more, or okay, I take more pain medication, but like, okay, but I bring other things to the table. Like
Yeah.
my now fiance, he is an angel for being together with me. Like, I love him. Like, this is my man for life. But he is not better than anybody else for being together with somebody who's disabled. And it took me like because a lot of people said that to me in the start, and I was a bit like, oh, yeah, okay, well, okay. But like now I went to therapy though, helped. But like, and I realized like I am as worthy as everybody else. Like, yeah, okay, I bring different things to the table, but I bring as much as anybody else. And the world should understand that. And when you said like representation, I think it is cool, because if we get more of that, people would understand that, well, we might bring different things to the table, but we still bring something.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you mentioned something that reminded me of other videos I've watched with other disabled people. A partner that is able-bodied being called like, you're a saint, you're like absolutely amazing, like you're, you know, all those things, like going and giving them all this I don't know, these compliments, going and
Yeah.
saying like, for being with a disabled person, it's like, no, no, no. They are just having a healthy relationship. This is a
Yeah.
normal relationship. No one is any different for going and being with a disabled person.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've seen a lot of comments on that with a specific YouTube channel I watch. I don't know if I'm allowed to go and name
Oh,
them.
no, you shout out whoever you want. This is like a
Okay.
place where people can find people. So shout them out
Okay.
if you want.
I've talked about them on my Twitch channel because I love them so much, but it's Squirmy and Grubs. And
Oh,
oh gosh, I can't remember what it is. I want to say SMA is what Shane, the male in the relationship, has. And then Hannah, she's able-bodied and
yes.
everything.
Yes, I've
Yes.
seen them popping up.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love them so much.
I'm going to pop them up here so people can follow, and like maybe put a card or down below, so like people can get more representation. We need to get it out
Yeah.
there. Yeah. But in the world of representation though, we need to give you a big like applause, because you got on a stream like lately. You got what is it, Disabled Content Creator Collective?
Yes, so I'm on
Yes.
that one, and then Splendid Spoonies. They're currently on a hiatus right now,
Yeah.
just as like, you know, you have low spoons and you kind of need to get
Nice.
everything together. So yeah, I'm on a couple of disabled stream teams, and it's just I'm so excited to be in communities with that and like focusing on
Yes.
representation and everything. It's
I
so
saw
exciting.
I saw it. I made like a little like, these are my new followers, and I was just like, I know that one. But it's really cool, because we say that we're representation, and that is one part of the gaming industry which is fun. We have so much control over what we put out there, and we're just like, well, we can't see the representation anywhere else, let's make it ourselves. And that is so cool. I respect that so much. I think it's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm super super excited. I've been kind of quiet in a lot of those channels just because like I ended up moving into this new house, and then I got a cold, so I've been a little bit quiet, but I'm so excited to get to know my fellow stream team members, and yeah, just going and seeing what good we can do.
Do you think accessibility also can help able-bodied people?
Oh yeah, I definitely think so. Like what we were talking about earlier with just the mouse sensitivity stuff. Because like for some people that stream games on Twitch, you know, they might have to go and fix those things so that people that are watching their channel can enjoy it without, you know, getting motion sick, dizzy, any of those things, as well as closed captions. Like I work remotely, so sometimes I might have to have the volume turned down while I'm in a meeting, but I might want to, you know, glance over occasionally and see what the conversation is on that channel. So having the sound off but having those closed captions on is so nice, because you can still feel like you're a part of it but not missing out on anything. So yeah, accessibility options can definitely be helpful for able-bodied people. Or even another one, when you're walking into a building and they have those buttons for wheelchair users to open the doors. Let's say you're moving boxes and you just can't, open the door yourself. That's super useful as well. So it's like these things help everyone and they shouldn't be looked at as something negative. They're extremely beneficial.
They are. And I agree with you to what you're saying. Like, and I hope that that is something people can start understanding, because I see often when we talk about accessibility, a lot of people like go, well, I don't need that. I'm able-bodied.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but are you sure? You still use text. That is an accessibility feature. Like in the same way, disability is not a dirty word. Accessibility is not a dirty word. It's not equal to giving up or equal to like needing more. It's just equal to making things better for yourself.
100%.
Yeah, and often think it can be hard for people to understand that accessibility is not the same as easy mode. In any sense of form, like either for the game to put it on easy mode, but it's not like to make the game easier. It's to make the game experience better. Like I don't, it's not easier for me to have subtitles on, but it makes the experience better because I am sure I don't miss anything. And
exactly, yeah.
So, which is something I hope able-bodied people will understand in the future, that accessibility, it can help us, everybody. Yeah.
100%.
What do you think is the biggest misconception people have about accessibility and or your disability?
Oh gosh. Well, the second question, there was someone that I came across, Crossland Shannon, another person I'm going to shout out, and she has ectrodactyly as well. But she was talking about how, I guess, someone came up to her and was saying, "You're not having kids because of your disability," and she didn't know how to go and react to that. And then later she went and said in the captions when she posted it, saying that, no, it's not that I don't want to have kids. It's like, I'm not ready to have kids at this point in my life. Yeah. But just because of my disability doesn't mean that I don't want to have kids or, don't want to go through that process. And that was another thing that connected with me, because the person that I had been dating before, once he found out that my condition could pass on to kids, he was like, nope, I can't morally do this. He had even talked to his mom, and his mom was like, you have to decide whether or not you want to have kids, because if you want to have kids, you have to break up with her. And I was like, oh my gosh, like there's a world of other, things that you have to think of when you're having kids, like, going and seeing, like, am I physically able to, all of that stuff. But no, it came right down to, oh, her genetics are going to be awful for her child and they aren't going to be capable of doing anything. So morally, you shouldn't go through with it. And I was like, this is absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, that's rude.
Yeah. It's rude. It's eugenics. And it's like, I'm perfectly capable of doing anything that I want to. Like I said, it's going to be different. But I was like, this is just absolutely mind-blowing.
Oof. Yeah. No. I hear a lot. I have a good saying for that. You either die young or you live long enough to see yourself become disabled. That is the outcome of every human being.
It is.
Some of us just ends up being disabled earlier than others. Like, and if people say that, it's like, yeah, but a kid can fall down the stairs. Like you have, I can to some degree understand the wish that when you're carrying a baby, then you wish that it's going to be as healthy as possible. But the possibility that nothing is going to happen in your life is minimal to impossible. People like injuries, maybe long-term or short-terms, happen to us all. And like, as older we get, the harder it is to just exist in this world with a body that doesn't work. Like, if you're 60, 70, 80, you will have disabilities, but people down to like younger age get problems as well. It's not, God, I guess.
Yeah.
I have heard that so many times, and I get pissed, and I'm somebody who doesn't even want kids. We are childless by choice for other reasons.
Yeah.
But like, and even I get offended. I'm just like, excuse me. You say I can't have, if I wanted, I could have had it. And I think come on.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't the end all be all if you get like have one less finger or have a limb difference. Like
Mm-hmm.
it is just that. And it seemed like some people take it to be so much more dangerous than what it is. Because at some point I do remember I've talked to people and they're just like, but what if you need to do this? And I'm just like, well, then I just do it.
Mm-hmm.
What if you can't like do this and this in the future? Well, then I just get help. You
Exactly.
just deal with it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but what if my kid is missing a foot or some fingers or have this and that? Well, then you deal with it. Of
Yeah.
course, I wish society was better. Like, we should give more money to parents that have disabled child or help them better, have a better system. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is. Oof. Oof, that's really mean of him to say.
It is mean, but I will say that in some ways I have him to thank because it just lit a flame in me that I was like, no, I need to go and talk about this stuff. Like I want to be more outspoken about my limb differences. So I have him to thank for that. Like
Yes.
awful experience, but great outcome because I met some great people through the process.
Yes. Yes. I have to say that I agree with that one.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any favorite accessibility you always use in games?
Oh gosh. Um, it definitely would be the closed captions and everything. Because when you do have, let's say, like multiple characters in the game, sometimes it helps to know, like, oh, okay, it was this character that was talking, and that's why they have this weird tone, stuff like that. And then the mouse sensitivity, those just help me so much and have been a huge reason why some of the games that I love so much are my favorite games. It's because I have that ability to make the game more enjoyable for myself.
Yeah. So, we talked a lot about accessibility, but what are actually your favorite kinds of game?
Oh, okay. I love farming sim games. Those are definitely some of my cozy ones. But then I also really enjoy horror games. So the Dark Picture series, I
Yes.
love those so much. And just knowing that whatever choice you pick might influence whether this character dies or you get the great ending or the horrible ending. I love those games so much.
I love that though. You have like these two sides. On one side is like farming, chill,
Hmm.
min-maxing, and on the other side is just total chaos, have no control, running away. Yeah, we love
Yes.
that. We love that. But
Yeah.
it is fun though. I have to say I'm such a wuss that I love horror games, but mostly I have to have them on like somebody else play it, because if I play it
Hmm.
myself I get so stressed. But if I have it on a YouTube or stuff, I can like hide behind a
Oh
pillow.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
I love those games so much, but like with the content I try to put out, it's always cozy. So I'm like, oh, should I actually play those games? So most of the time I'll just watch someone else play them and
Mm.
then I'll be playing, my own games on the side or something. It's just like my way of relaxing, as weird as that sounds.
No, I understand it. Do you have any like favorite horror streamers or YouTubers?
Oh, there's a few YouTubers. I like watching the playthrough where it's like a movie type of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no commentary, there's nothing like that. And it's just like you're watching a video game movie. And some of my favorites would be like the Telltale Games series for The Walking Dead. And then I can't remember what the name of the other one is. Oh, Until Dawn with the Wendigos and stuff. That's another one of my favorites.
I wasn't Isn't there coming a new Telltale game now?
Oh, I think so. I know they had The Devil in Me. That was the most recent one. And then
Isn't it
I
that
can't
like
remember.
I think they're coming a second one of the game where you play like a wolf detective?
Oh, The Quarry? Oh no,
No. Well, let me
The Wolf
actually.
Among Us.
Yes. I think that one is coming to like getting number two now, which I think
Yes.
is really, really fun.
Oh, I'm so excited because yeah, there was like a bunch of unsolved mysteries in it. And then I know that the company had to shut down or something happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that they're picking it back up because that was one of my favorites too.
No, and I like that because it had like horrors and like scary stuff, or at least scary
Hmm.
stuff, but you had like these memories of these like characters that you knew
Hmm.
before because they used well-known characters. It was like
Yes.
it was sort of like, yeah, it was a good crossover. It was
Yeah, it
really
was like
fun.
a bit more depressing version of Once Upon a Time in a way, like more
Yes.
nitty gritty.
Yes, 100%. Did you play games when you grew up?
Yes, I did. I was very much a gamer girl. I played a lot of World of Warcraft,
Oh, yes.
Skyrim,
Oh,
and Pokemon.
I love to hear it. I still have once a year, I have like a week where my brain is just like Skyrim. And then I like
Mhm.
play Skyrim for like
Yes.
hours. And then I'm just like, what is this? This old school game. And then I go and do
Mhm.
something else. And then 1 year later, my brain is just like, no, you need your Skyrim drugs.
Yes, my partner and I talk about it constantly because my favorite quest line was the Dark Brotherhood. I knew like the Dark Sacrament, all of those things. It was just my favorite. And whenever we talk about it, I'm like, oh, I want to play that again so bad.
Yes. Do you prefer modding in games, or are you a bit more like play vanilla?
I think it depends on the game. I definitely do want to get back into modding Skyrim because one of the things that was always something that bothered me in the game was just how dark the dungeons were.
Yeah.
And it was so difficult to see, and I felt like I was squinting. So having mods that just kind of add some more brightness. Otherwise, I think I'm a bit old school with that game. It's so nostalgic that I'm like, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to change too much. I want the original game, but a few accessibility things for myself.
So do you have any games you're looking forward to now in 2023?
Oh gosh. I think Puff Pals is one of them. I
Oh.
ended up going and backing the Kickstarter a bit too much, but it looks so cute and so cozy with all the animals in it. Um, So there's that one. I know the next Breath of the Wild installment is coming out, and I need to play the first one. I don't know why I've put off playing it for so long. Uh, and then I know there's a few other ones that are in my wish list. I think another one is a zombie game. And when I looked at a lot of the pictures, it reminded me of I Am Legend. And it's a
Ooh.
multiplayer game, open world. And my partner and we're very excited to try that out together.
That sounds cozy. Well, cozy might not be the correct word used there. It sounds fun.
I don't know, like I present as like this little sweet person that likes a lot of cute stuff, but inside I love a lot of horror stuff. So I do like to keep people on their toes.
Yes, but we like that though. That is a good thing because humans are often like that. We are more than what we just like shows. Like I sit here in this pink room,
Mhm.
but my streams are often not safe for kids to watch. Let's just say that because I can say some foul things. I had somebody once who just said, like, written to me because I played a really hard game and my hands started to hurt and there wasn't any accessibility features. So I started getting angry and then I started
Mhm.
swearing. And they were just like, I'm coming back in 5 minutes when you have stopped swearing because I am at work and my colleagues are looking at me. And I was just like,
Oh no.
oh, oops. But they were just like, they just laughed. They were just like, oh, yeah, we come back later. And I was just like, fine.
I get the same way when I play Genshin Impact and I'm like in a heavy battle area and my partner's like, are you playing Genshin right now? I'm like, yes. I
Maybe. I one of one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on this show is because one of the biggest difference between us two is that I have invisible disabilities and you have
Mhm.
visible disabilities. I have grown up feeling that I sort of have to prove myself, like I have to
Mhm.
prove that the pain is true. I have to prove that my struggles are true.
Yeah.
I've heard from others that have visible disability that necessarily isn't the same. It can be, but necessarily not is the same. But one thing I'm wondering, due to the fact that everybody can see it, does that mean that you sort of feel pressured into taking a role of advocacy for your disability?
Think more so now in my adulthood, yes. When I was growing up, I was very lucky um, because, like I said, it was a small redneck hometown, like very closed-minded, very conservative. But a lot of people, they were very used to my hands. If there was like a new kid that moved in and they might have been a little bit uncertain or said certain things, it was like everyone kind of was advocating for me and put them in their place. But it was once I moved to, I currently live in Colorado. So it was a completely different world. It was like, oh, okay, no one's seen this before. Like they wouldn't notice it right away. Like I'd be drinking water out of my water bottle and I'd see them like take a second glance and like look at my hand and they'd be like, wait, are you missing a finger? Or what's going on with your hands? And when I was growing up, my dad always told me to like make jokes with it. So sometimes I would do that. But yeah, it was kind of like we'd get into this huge spiel where I'd say like, yeah, I can do anything. Like I grew up playing piano. I was on the swim team, like all this stuff kind of saying like, yeah, I'm different, but I can do all these things. It's not an issue at all. So I feel like in my adulthood that's been a new experience where it's like I very much have to prove myself and say like, yeah, I'm totally fine. I can do this, this, and this. And people are understanding, but it's just an entirely new world to them that they've never seen before. So just kind of having that dialogue and conversation. And for myself, like I've never been uncomfortable talking about my limb differences, but I don't like stares. It's like, I know you're staring. I know you have questions. Just ask me, I'll explain. But like with my hands, that's easier because they're out in the open. With my feet, I still get a little bit nervous and kind of hide them or make sure I'm wearing socks so people don't see them. But it's still the same thing. If someone asks me, I'll tell them. But it's still like I have to advocate for myself and say like, yeah, I can do this stuff. It's fine. Like I'm functioning just fine.
It is cool you say that because, okay, so I thought one thing, but it seems like we sort of maybe have the same, but the opposite. I feel like I have to prove that is actually a bigger problem than what people may think when they see me walk down the street. But you have to prove to people that no, it doesn't stop me that much. Come on.
Yeah.
Like I can still do things. It seems like we have to prove from different sides. I have to prove that this can limitate me a lot more than what you believe when you see me. And you have to say, no, this doesn't limitate me as much as you think when you see me. So it seems like we have maybe a bit of the same experience, but from different side of the coin.
Yeah.
I did not think
definitely.
that, which was really cool. See, this is why I want to talk to people because I also need to learn new things.
No, I love this so much. Like I said, it's just like I'm just like I want to learn all the things. So I'm very excited about the series that you're starting.
Thank you so much. I snooped around on your social media yesterday as one do when one tried to like figure out, and I found on your beacon like where you have everything you said. My goal is to show others that being disabled doesn't make anyone less worthy or capable. And I know we both talked about it's hard to like not let your inner monologue of ableism win. And I wanted to mention it because I think it's a really pretty thing to say. Like we are not less worthy and we are not less capable. It might be different for us and we might bring different into the table, but I think it's really pretty. I got really impressed when I saw that. It like stuck with me. And yeah, it's important to be proud of who one is. And yeah, I think you do a lot of good things. And I am impressed to see what I see. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
It is nice though. So, but do you still have problems with like internalized ableism, or is there still things you feel like, okay, I have come far, but maybe not as far as I wish?
Yeah, I still do have a lot of moments where I battle my own internal ableism. I think the biggest thing is in relationships because that past partner made me feel like I wasn't worthy. You know, like no one would want to be with me, especially someone that wants to have a family. Excuse me. And I met my other partner that I'm currently with, and I live in this house with. I met him through Hinge, same place that I met the other person, and we were talking about like animal videos on TikTok because that's a guilty pleasure of mine, and I was sending him one, and I didn't realize that if you send someone a link, it will connect with your TikTok, and he saw one of my videos talking about my limb difference. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was getting so embarrassed and everything. He's like, oh, no, it's fine. Like, I won't follow you or anything like that. And he thought I was just embarrassed. He found my account. And then when we had our first date in person, we kind of talked about that. And I had told him a little bit of my baggage with that and some of my insecurities. And he's like, no, that stuff doesn't matter. Like, like the person's heart is what matters to me, and their personality, because that's what you kind of have to be around when you're dating someone, is that personality. If they have an ugly personality, do you want to stick around with that? So he went and reaffirmed that. And then he said, as far as kids, like, yes, he does want to have kids one day, but my limb differences and everything like that don't bother him. Now, if it comes to we're both physically unable to have kids, adoption, so that was definitely one of my fears. Like, is someone going to find me as a worthy partner with my limb differences and knowing they could get passed on to a kid? And with that, are their friends going to accept me? Is their family, their mom, is the mom going to accept me? Or is she going to say the same thing, like, you need to end things with her? And the thing was that really sucked the most with the ex. The mom never met me. So she was making the judgment off of my limb differences. She didn't know who I was as a person, didn't know my personality, none of those things about me. All she saw was my limb differences and immediately said, like, get rid of her, so.
But like, and it's so hard because you can be as confident as you want, but something like that happen, you take a punch. Like, yeah. I am I feel at least I have like a strong self-esteem, but sometimes some things people say, it punch you. And it does.
It really does.
And it does take, and I hope people that listening to this can understand that having internalized ableism, a lot of us does. If somebody does not, I feel like they are lucky in that, but most of us have these because society in general are a bit ableist, and it's hard to live in a society and not getting affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
But the line of like you learning not to have so much internalized ableism and getting better on that, like that is a line, but it's not straight. It goes up and down and up and down, and like you get more confident, and then you get some punches, you get down a bit, but you slowly and steadily, by doing the work, learn to love yourself, be proud of yourself, do as your quote said, like understand that you're not less worthy or less capable, you're just you.
Mm-hmm.
And it is important that I hope at least people can understand that you're allowed to feel bad about things, but if you work with it, there is a huge chance that you can learn to love yourself the way you are, or at least, if not love yourself, accept yourself in a neutral term. It's just be a good old thumbs up, okay. That is sometimes good enough. Yes.
Yeah.
I am going to say I have a hard-hitting question at the end, but it's not at all. I just wanted to take a second because I saw that you have a PNG tuber.
Yes.
And your PNG tuber also have 4 fingers. And I hope it's okay that I put up a picture here so people can see.
Yeah.
I think that is such a cool way of, one, showing representation. I have not seen that much of that in the V2 PNG tube environment. That was really cool. And also well done of putting yourself out there. Because putting on these PNG or VTubing, it is a nice way to sort of hide some things about yourself. But you took that step and said, no, this is me. This is part of me. It's really, really cool.
Thank you. Yeah. One of the things that was very important for me is that any of my emotes, the PNG tuber, all of that stuff has 4 fingers. So with some artists that I worked with for the first time, they gave me the rough draft. And right away I looked at the hands and I was like, I'm sorry, can you change that so she only has 4 fingers? And all of my emotes, everything like that on my channel, they do have 4 fingers. It might be a little bit harder to see the emotes, of course, but yeah, there's that. And then some of the tags that I use for my channel as well have disability. I think I had Ectrodactyly for a period of time, but I was like, oh, that one might not be as searched for. But I do have that in one of my commands, which is exclamation mark hands or hand. And that gives a little bit of information about my condition and everything.
That is smart. It's the easy way of informing, doing a bit like tell people a bit. And because people are curious, often than not, they are curious in a positive way. Of course, some people want to be mean, but most people are just curious.
Yeah. So I think it's a great way to give information. I do have the tag also, or the command in my stream title as well. So, you know, people might be like, oh, what's this? And they pop it up and it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And then with my partner, he's also a bit of a part-time streamer as well. And when he got one of his emotes made, right away I focused him on the hands and I was like, your emote has 4 fingers. Can you fix that?
Excuse me.
You are not representing yourself properly. Sorry, sir.
This is my spiel. You find something else.
Yes.
Genius. I like that. I like that. Do you have any fun upcoming project or anything you want to share for your like streaming and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I did turn 27 on January 6th, but because of my cold, I had to cancel the birthday stream I had planned with all the incentives. So I'm actually going to be doing kind of like a birthday month stream event, and it's going to start January 16th. And I have a ton of fun incentives to unlock. And then I'm also going to be streaming a fun game that I got reached out to in the end of the month-ish. I think I don't want to go and say it just so it's a surprise.
But that's okay. Yeah. This podcast that will be after this podcast comes out after, but then people can go back and watch the ones, because I know these like event streams, they are always so much fun.
Yes, so I'm very excited. It was a bummer that it had to get canceled originally, but I'm looking forward to that. We're also going to start doing some YouTube stuff here soon. So yeah, lots of projects.
Yes. So where can people then find you?
Yeah, so I do have, I'm going to be updating my beacon so it includes it, but I believe it's also Good Morning Dreamer on YouTube. So yeah, I'll be there on most channels aside from my Instagram having a different name.
Yeah. Okay. And before we go, is there anything you want to add?
Oh gosh, I can't think of anything aside from thank you again for asking me to be a part of this. I was so excited and like had a little happy dance and was telling my partner about it. I just thought that this was so amazing, and I'm very thankful to be asked to be a part of it.
Well, Rochelle, thank you so much for joining me today. I have learned a lot. I think I've spoken a bit much, but that is because you're really easy to speak to.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the conversation just goes because you start talking about something and I'm just like, I have an idea, but I hope the audience is okay with that. Audience, thank you so much for being here today. If you want more of this, make sure to subscribe to my channel and also go follow Rochelle all over social media. If you have any questions to any of us, please comment it down below and do subscribe. That would help me a lot, and give like a thumbs up. All that spiel that YouTubers say, put it in here. Well, wherever you are around the globe, my dear followers, may you have a good night when the time comes. So I see you later. Bye. Mwah.